our channel. CRM Guru is the perfect place to learn Dynamic 365 and Power Apps. Before we begin our session, those who are new to this channel, please subscribe and like our video.
Hi all. In this video, we will explain about plugins, plugin types, events, messages, stages, framework, execution pipeline, and how to register a plugin, assembly and steps. So, what is a plugin? So plugins will be developed like this plugins is a custom business logic first of all. So this custom business logic we are going to write. So apart from which the Microsoft has given to us, apart from that, if we need to do some extra customizations, apart which doesn't support in CRM, and for those scenarios which is not supported with out of box feature, then we will go with a custom logic. So that custom logic, we will go with custom logic. This custom logic we will build using a plugins or custom workflows. Okay, now custom workflows, and where it will be, this custom logic will be written. So this custom logic will be written with the .NET framework. On .NET framework we will write this custom logic. So for this .NET framework, what you are required, some C# knowledge. Even though if you don't have some C# knowledge, you can write a plugin, but if you have some C# knowledge, it will be very helpful for you in order to write a plugin. So where we will write this like C# code. So this C# code you will write in your local machine. Okay, you will write in your local machine. So now it will be in your machine. So how you need to push to CRM? So whatever the code you are writing in this local machine, that need to be pushed to this Dynamics. How you will do it? By using one tool called plugin registration tool. Okay, by using some tool called plugin registration tool. And where you will get this plugin registration tool? This you will get in some SDK. Okay, in SDK we can get this plugin registration tool. So this is the overview. So first you will be writing a custom logic. This custom logic you will write a plugin. For that plugin you will be having a .NET framework where it will be developed in your local machine, and by using a plugin registration tool we will register this plugin into CR. So directly we cannot write a plugin inside this. So in order to write a plugin, you need to follow all these steps. Okay, so now let me open. So first of all, plugins, if you see here, this is a plugin page, and here you are seeing here events, stages, plugin messages, and how to develop a plugins. Okay, so first of all, if you see about the events, here events are you are having event execution pipeline as well as synchronous plugins and asynchronous plugins. Okay, so first of all, what is a synchronous plugin? So before going to execution pipeline, let us see about the synchronous plugin. Event execution pipeline is nothing but pre-validation, pre-operation, main operation, and post-operation. We are having 4 stages. And next is synchronous plugins and asynchronous plugins. Let us see this. So here are the plugin types. If you see synchronous plugins will trigger immediately and it will give instant result. Means whenever we are writing a synchronous, if you know the difference between synchronous and asynchronous workflows, in the same way we are having synchronous plugins and asynchronous plugins. Synchronous means it will trigger immediately and it will give instant result. It will not wait for anything. Immediate result it will show. The maximum amount of time that a plugin can run is 2 minutes. Okay, the code will run for 2 minutes. If it is crossing more than 2 minutes, then it will give a timeout error. Okay, and if we go for synchronous plugins, it will freeze the page in CRM until the code of plugin is executed. So till the code is completing its execution, if you see, if I am writing some code, assume I have written some plugin code and I am going to save this. There will be some other functionalities. You have JavaScript and so you have some other functionalities will be there. If you have any synchronous plugin, okay, when you click on save, this page will freeze. It will not allow for other operations. Okay, the page will freeze for some time. Due to that, the performance will be low. Okay, so synchronous plugin, it will freeze the page until the entire plugin code is executed, and like this is one drawback, because the performance will be low. So if you have an error in a plugin, it will break there itself. This is one disadvantage of synchronous plugin. Okay, and next, what is asynchronous? Asynchronous will take some time in the background and it will execute. Okay, these are handled by some async queue manager. These all errors will be handled in a asynchronous queue manager. The maximum amount of time for a plugin, same for synchronous or asynchronous, it will be 2 minutes only. If it is crossing 2 minutes of time for its execution, then it will throw a timeout error. If you go for asynchronous plugins, it will not freeze the page. It will run entire code. It will take some time and it will run it. So it will not freeze the page for the plugin. But here it will freeze the page in synchronous plugin. So this is definitely an interview question. What is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous plugins? Okay, next. Now, after this, let us see about plugin messages. Plugin messages are nothing but in workflow you are having, right? So some messages like create, update, delete, assign, field change. In the same way, in plugins we have like create, update, delete, assign, retrieve multiple. This retrieve multiple is not there in workflow. Okay, we are having associate, disassociate, multiple things are there in the plugin messages. Mostly we will use like create, update, delete, assign, or retrieve multiple. Some associate and disassociate we will use. Okay, so there are still other multiple are there in plugin messages. Based on the scenarios we will use them. Okay, that we will show what messages is available when we are into this plugin registration part. Okay, next we are having developing a plugins. How we need to develop a plugin? As I told you, you need to know CRM first. If you need to develop that plugin, first you need to know the CRM version and what is the type of the version. Okay, and what is CRM type? So first you need to know what type and version of a CRM, and next you need a .NET framework. Okay, so after type and version you need a .NET framework. Suppose if you are writing a plugin code in Assume, you are writing in CRM 2013 CRM, you are writing a plugin code. Okay, there the .NET supported framework is 4.5 or 4.5.1 or 4.5.2 like this .NET frameworks. But if you are taking the same, if you have some XRM SDK messages, the XRM SDK is dependent on which framework that you are using. Okay, if suppose you are using 2015 CRM and 16 CRM, you will have frameworks like 4.6, 4.6.1, 4.6.2 and so on like this. Now we are having the framework of 4.6.2, 4.7, we have the latest. So now in Dynamic 365, latest version is like 9.x. Okay, 9.x means 9.1 or 9.2 CRM versions. If you want to cross check, go to the CRM and check the version of the CRM here. Okay, about, if you click on about, it will give you the version. So here it is 9.2, version is 9.2. Okay, so in Dynamic 365 when it was released, it is starting with the 9.x. We can say 9.1 or 9.0 or 9.2, whatever it is. That is why I'm saying 9.x. So minimum version we need to take in XRM SDK is minimum framework is 4.6.2 or 4.6.1. It supports. From there you can take 4.6.3 or 4 or 4.7 or 4.8, whatever it is. So you need to take the framework based on minimum framework is 4.6.2, it will support. Okay, we need to install this framework in our we need to install our framework in VS. Okay, and next we are having execution context. So this execution context, you execute and context will help us in while developing a plugin. Then I will explain you better about this. So all details which comes into the plugin, what all details it will come into the plugin, this will be available in iPlugin interface. Okay, this will have like message, like a name, what is the stage of the plugin, like which stage we have been registered, and primary entity details. So all will hold in the context, like attribute information, field information, all will hold in a context. Okay, that I will show you later. Next is a registration plugin. So how to register this plugin? Now you have done all this and you need to register plugin. So you need to register plugin using a plugin registration tool. Okay. Now let us come to next one. So how the plugin internal process it will happen, I will explain you. Okay, first of all, in order to develop a plugin, you need to know all these base information. Okay, then you will know how this plugins is being developed. That's why I'm covering all this information for you. Okay, if you see our CRM is having this diagram is not there anywhere. I have prepared this diagram in order to understand easily for you. Okay, this is CRM. Okay, front end of CRM, that which we are seeing an application. Okay, and this is a user interface. Okay, user interface is nothing but whatever the page you are seeing whenever we are opening, that is a user interface, that is called UI. Okay, and entity or table, suppose okay, so this event execution pipeline. Okay, see, this is a user interface and you are filling some information in a form, like suppose name Prithvi, Hyderabad, and a employee skill. You have filled these three information, okay, and you click on save button. Then what will happen? Whenever you are filling this information here, when you click on a save button, this information will be passed to a server where the server will be available. The server in our CRM for Dynamic 365 is cloud. Okay, in Azure it will Azure cloud it will store. Okay, and this server is common data service, we call it earlier. Now it is a dataverse. Whatever you are filling this information in the front end and you are clicking on save, this data will be going to a server. In that server is placed in what it is called dataverse. In the dataverse, in this database, so if it is on premise, it is SQL server. If it is online, it will be in now Microsoft Dataverse. In Dataverse, this data will be stored. How this is storing? So whenever you click on a save button, so the request will be going to the server. So which type of request? What this request will hold? It will hold all the CRM organization details, user information, okay, and next entity or table information, attribute or field information. So and it will hold the messages like create or update or delete, all these type of event messages also it will hold in a request message. Okay, and whatever the request is taking from here, this request will be sending to the server. Okay, when you click on a save, this request, whatever the holding request, this request will be sending to a request message. Okay, this request message, whatever it is passed, this all information it is being copied and this information is being passed here. Now whatever this information is being in this request message, this will be sending to the server. This will be sending to this database. Okay, now this database is filled with this information, whatever you have passed here, this will store here by using a main operation, main or core operation. Okay, and in this main or core operation, see, now once this has been received to the database, a response will be sending to back to a server. Okay, now you are saving this information. Now you need to check either the same data is being sent or not. So if this response will sending to back to the CRM, whatever the response is there, it will communicate. If there is any error message, it will throw error. If there is no error message, it will be successful. Okay, whatever the response, either error or successful, it will be back to the CRM. Okay, and here you see there is an event execution pipeline. Suppose the event execution pipeline, first it will check either any of the plugin is registered in the pre-validation stage. If there is no plugin registered in this pre-validation stage, then it will check for pre-operation. And if no plugin is registered in the pre-operation, then it will go to the main operation and it will see this main operation, no logic will be, no plugins will be, no custom plugins will be registered. Whatever the Microsoft created plugins, those will execute. And no custom plugins. Custom plugins means which we develop a plugins. Some of the out of box features are working, right? For that, Microsoft has built some plugins internally and they have given a tool for us. And for custom logic, the main operation will not support. So now it will check if there is any plugin registered, there will be no possibility in main operation the plugin will not register, but main operation will process the information. Okay, now it will check if any plugin is registered in the post operation, and if any plugin is registered in post operation, then it will execute, else it will skip. Okay, now all this execution event pipeline it will go through. Okay, so what happened here? You are filling information here, saving it, and saved information will be going to the server. A request will be sent to using any one of these pipeline. It will be sending back to the database. Okay, and this response is being sent back to the CRM. Now let us see one example before going to here. Now this is a UI. If based on that example, assume this is a UI. You take any one of the table or entity. Now suppose assuming you are filling this employee. So this EMP34, and you are filling some information like Power Apps or something, and you are going to save this. Some information. I am filling this some information and I am going to save this. Now this is front end. Once you click on save, okay, now you clicked on save. This information, whatever you are placing in this UI, this should store somewhere. Okay, where it should store this information? This should store in a database. Okay, our database is a Dataverse, as I told, where I can see the database or Dataverse. So now see here make.powerapps.com. Type here make.powerapps.com. Enter. Now go to the solutions, and here you can see a Lenovo solution. Here you can search for Lenovo solution. So this which we created right already. So it is okay. 1 minute, come back. Very slow. Here Lenovo managed solution, management solution, Lenovo unmanaged solution. This is Lenovo solution. Okay. Sorry. If you don't want to go to any solution and you need to check the data, you can come back and you see here there will be data. In this data you go for tables. Okay, this is also fine, no need to go further. If you want the custom, then you will click on here custom, then it will show you all the custom. If it is system, then ignore it. If you want to sort it by custom, you can sort it by custom, or else you can directly open here employee table. Okay, if you suppose filter on custom, it will give all the custom entities. These all are the custom entities. Our employee entity right now, you can open this employee entity. See, now here you can see all the columns, name, data type, this all you can see it here. And if there is any relationships, you can find relationships. Business rules we can find here, views, forms. Okay, what are the forms available? What are the views available? Dashboards, charts, everything you can refer here. Now we need to check for data. So check for data and see here, this is EMP34. This is stored here. In this database, it was stored in this table. And you have taken admin, sorry, Power Apps. Okay, whatever you are taking information. If you want all data, here you see select all columns. It will take all the columns information. Okay, now search for EMP34. Here is the EMP34, and see here now this EMP34, and scroll to the right and see this all information. Test emp@gmail.com. Whatever the information we have filled, it will show here 87655. So this all information is being stored here. Okay, each and every information in the backend database, it will store here. You can find this data here. If you delete this data, suppose if you are going to delete this record from here in database, now this EMP34 record will be no longer available. See, record is not available. You have deleted in the database. Okay, so this is a database. This is front end UI. Okay, next. Now this is an like internal process. This is how it is happening internally. Okay, now let us go to event execution pipeline. Suppose when you are registering a step using a plugin registration tool, you must choose this event execution pipeline. Okay, whenever you are registering a plugin, as I told you, you need to register a plugin in order to apply for CRM, right? So then you need to choose which type of like what is the event of the plugin execution. Each message is processed in 4 stages as described below. Okay, so this is like pre-event, main operation and post-operation. In pre-event, we are having pre-validation and pre-operation. Okay, and main operation, post-operation. Now pre-validation is applied with number 10. Pre-operation stage number is 20. Main operation stage number is 30 and post-operation stage number is 40. Okay, so now let us see. Let us see first difference between pre-validation and pre-operation. Okay, so in pre-validation, stages in this pipeline will execute before the main operation. Okay, so stages in this pipeline will execute before main operation. So when before the main op, if you remember the earlier diagram, before main operation, this is going to execute. So if you remember this diagram, so here it is saying pre-validation, pre-operation, main operation and post-operation. So it is going through one by one. So if you see here, stages in this pipeline will execute before main operation only. Before main operation, we are having how many stages? 2 stages, pre-validation and pre-operation. So pre-validations will execute before the main operation, and even the pre-operation also will execute before the main operation only. So both the pre-events will work before the main operation. Okay, and plugins in the state before the main operation means here. So before coming here into the database, if there is any pre-validation stage, it will directly pass to the database. It will not check for main operation. If there is any information, it will pass to the database directly. Now plugins in this stage are executed outside the database transaction. This provides an opportunity to include a logic to cancel the operation before the database transaction. Plugins in this stage are executed within the database. See here, plugins in pre-validation will execute outside the database transaction. So it doesn't bother about the database. Like pre-validation plugins doesn't bother about the database. If there is a message you are passing, the direct message will be passed. Okay, and there is no rollback applied in this pre-validation, and no security checks will be done. Either the calling user is a CRM user or not. Okay, or security role is assigned to him or not. It will not check anything. Okay, no security checks will be done in the pre-validation stage, and it will be outside database transaction, and we cannot roll back the changes in pre-validation. But if you go for pre-operation, here it will be executed inside the database transaction, and security checks will be done, and we cannot roll back the changes. So what is a rollback and what is this transaction? If you need to know, you need to have little bit knowledge on some SQL. So if you go for, if you don't know, and you need to know about this transaction. What is this transaction? What is inside database and outside database transaction? So let us take transaction SQL. Okay, now you see, but if you go for a bank, or you will be having some of the changes you need to roll back. Sometimes you need to commit the changes. Okay, so what is this transaction? Let us see. Okay, so now let us consider this example. This is a customers table. How we have this employee table here. In this example, they are taking a customer table. Okay, in this customer table, you are having 7 records. Ramesh, Kilan, or some other names with 7 records are there. Okay, and their salaries is being addressed, and their address is mentioned here. Their age is mentioned here. Okay, here if you see, This is a SQL command. Delete from customers where age equal to 25. Here what they are saying, from customers table, delete the age where age equal to 25. I need to delete those records. This command says from customers table, delete the records where age equal to 25. How many records are there with age equal to 25? Kilan and Chaitali. These two are the records. This is going to delete. Okay, once these are deleted, so this is, we cannot roll back the changes. You need to, if suppose you by mistakenly deleted, here you need to suppose delete where age equal to 27, but you deleted where age equal to 25. You cannot roll back the change. If you need to roll back a changes again back to the database, you need to commit this. You need to write one command called commit. Okay, and commit the changes in the database, they are saying. So once you click on, once you write this extra command on commit, then rows from the table would be deleted and select a statement would produce following result. This is the result. Page 25 was deleted now. Assume now you deleted these two records. Now the records are not available. Then what you need to do? Now you need to roll back the command. What command you have written here? You have written a commit command. This command you need to now roll back it. So if you write that command line, then you can roll back the changes using a command called rollback. The rollback command is a transactional command used to undo the transactions that you have not already being saved to the database. Okay, if you write that command, it will be you can roll back the changes. This command can only be used to undo the transactions since the last commit or rollback command was used. Whatever the last you have committed, that command, if you are using commit, then you can roll back the changes, it was saying. Now once you write this rollback command, so you can roll back the changes, and now whatever the table you are having with the 25 also, this data will be rolling back. Okay, and now you see customer, delete customers where age equal to 25, and rollback you will write like this. This command you will apply. Rollback means you can roll back the changes, and now all 7 records will be available. Okay, so this is a rollback command. So this rollback is not applicable in pre-validation stage. You cannot roll back the changes, and even you cannot check the security checks. Okay, but if you go for pre-operation stage, these are executed within a database transaction, and security checks will be done. Who is logged in to this application? Okay, which type of user, either he is having permissions or not. It will check all the details and move further step. And we cannot roll back the changes. If even though you write a commit or whatever transaction you do, we cannot roll back the changes in our CRM if you are using a pre-operation stage. This is very important question. In every interview they will ask, almost many interviews they will ask, explain me about event execution pipeline. You can write a plugin, but you will not know this flow. Okay, that is why I'm giving you all this context. At least you need to answer two lines from this. Okay, what is the difference between pre-validation and pre-operation, they will ask. Can we do a commit or rollback in pre-operation, or can we do a rollback in pre-operation? Okay, is security checks performed in a pre-operation or pre-validation? So they will ask multiple questions based on this concept. So if you are knowing this concept well, then you can answer any one of those questions. And they will ask you to explain about event execution pipeline. Then you need to say all these points. Sorry. Okay, now next coming to main operation. In main operation, this will be inside the database transaction only. This is in transaction. This is like in transaction, and it will be in main operation only. No custom plugins will be registered at this stage. Okay, no plugins will be, no custom plugins will be registered. Only default Microsoft created system plugins will be available in this main operation, and it includes like create, update, delete, associate, disassociate. These all message, retrieve multiple. These all will be available in the main operation. Okay, now coming to the post operation. Post operation means stage in this pipeline execute after main operation. So after the main operation, after this main operation, this post operation will be available. Before the main operation, pre-operation and pre-validation. So post operation will execute after this main operation. Okay, and plugins are okay, and plugins are executed within database transaction. So if you see pre-operation and post-operation are within the database transaction. Only pre-validation is not within database, it is outside database transaction. Security checks will be performed in pre and post operations, but security checks will not be performed in the pre-validation. We can roll back the changes in pre-operation. We can and in even the same we can roll back the changes in post-operation. But here we cannot roll back the changes in pre-validation. Okay, so this is a difference of event execution pipeline. Any doubts still here? Let me go to the other part, then also you will be more clear if I am going with the other diagrammatic explanation as well. So let me explain the same concept, whatever I have told you here, what is this internal process, how it is happening, and execution pipeline, I will explain you in diagram. Now you see, this is how Microsoft Dynamics Organization Web Service Clients, Dynamic 365 Web APIs, workflows, plugins, all will be available here. So this event execution pipeline will allows you to configure an event in plugin code. Okay, this will allow as an event. So what type of event? We can perform an operation on Dynamic 365 client. What happens to the server? Okay, when we perform some action, what happens to the server? When we take an action on Dynamic 365 client, okay, this Dynamic 365 client, so it will subscribe an event here. Okay, this event will be handled by organization web service. And this request, whatever the request it is coming here, this request it will create a organization web service request it will create. So okay, organization web service request it will create. 1 minute, it is not loading. Yes, so it will create one organization web service request. Okay, and it will pass this information to a pre-validation stage. Okay, then this will pass an information to this pre-validation stage 10. Okay, and here one thing you need to remember is, if suppose no plugin registered at this stage, if any plugin registered is in this stage, it is checking, right? If no plugin is registered, then it will update the organization web service request message. Assume I filled some information here in Dynamic 365. Suppose I have filled email and name. Now it passed that event to which type of event, either create or delete or which type of event. It will check in this organization web service, and this request now it is passing to plugin, like it will pass. So how it is passed? Either through one of the stage, either pre-validation or post-operation or main operation or this one. So first it will check here which type of which stage it was registered. Now if no, if it is no, then it will update organization web service request message, same whatever we have passed that will pass. And suppose if any plugin registered at this stage, so it will execute the plugin code and it in the run. So here you see run in user context, in which user is registered. Suppose whenever registering a plugin, you will take your user. If suppose if you want to take some other user, that is another concept called impersonation, that I will explain you later. So now it will run in the user context. Okay, now, and this message will pass again update organization web service request message. If it is passing through yes also, and it will execute the plugin code and it will pass a update message. This message will be passed to the CRM back. Okay, so now you see here, now whatever the information it is passing here, now this request will be passed inside to pre-operation stage. Okay, now first you pass to the pre-validation stage. Okay, and if no plugin is registered or you want to pre-operation stage, you are going to register plugin. Now request will be going to the pre-operation stage. Okay, once this pre-validation is completed, then your database will start on D365 server. So first the stage in database transaction is pre-validation. Next, this will be pre-operation. Okay, pre-operation, it will receive the updated message request. Whatever the message it is passing here, this message request it will pass, and it will check if any plugin is registered in this stage. Okay, it will check either any plugin is registered in this stage. If no plugin is registered in this stage, then it will pass again updated organization web service request message, whatever the message you have passed. So now if any plugin found at pre-operation, then it will execute this plugin code. So now you see this will execute plugin code, and it will run in the context of which user is registered. Same here also. Okay, now you see user has to access to entity or attributes. Here no validation is being performed in pre-validation, no security checks, nothing is happened here. But if you come to pre-operation stage, it will check for who has like user has access to this particular entity. Suppose the employee entity, either he is having access to this employee entity or not, and he is having that fields or not. It will check all the validation, and no, if there is no privileges for him, it will give insufficient privilege exception. If this user in this stage is not having a security permission, then it will give insufficient privilege exception. If suppose, and this will, whatever the message is coming here, this will pass it will respond data with exception, include profile back to Dynamic 365 client. So whatever the message it is coming here, it will send to the CRM, insufficient privileges. Suppose user is having an access here, then it will give a updated organization web service request message. Okay, and next, so once it is passing here, now it is a main operation. So it will first check if any impersonation is available in this place. Okay, if there is any impersonation concept, then it will be applied. So let me explain you what is impersonation. Suppose you are the user, you have no rights to register a plugin. Okay, Jagdish is a user and he doesn't has the rights to register this plugin. Then how he can register a plugin? So there is one concept called impersonation. Impersonation means suppose Srikanth is having a rights for this plugin to register. Now what he will do? He will apply Srikanth as a user. Whenever you are registering this plugin, Jagdish will register on behalf of Srikanth. Okay, you will take their Srikanth user on with another user context. So this impersonation, definitely there will be interview question. What is impersonation? Okay, so it will check either if user has privileges here or not. If user doesn't have privileges, then what this he will do? He will run the plugin in context of another user. This concept is called impersonation. Okay, next, so it will check now. Next step is, so it will apply impersonation. If there is any impersonation, it will apply. If no impersonation, that is fine. If there is any impersonation, it will apply. And any plugin is registered at this stage or not, it will check. So you are aware, no custom plugins will be registered at this stage. If no, then it will give insufficient privilege exception. And this message will be passed to the, say, response with the data, and it will pass to the Dynamic 365, this insufficient privilege exception. And now suppose if it is set to yes, and if any plugin is registered, then system will process an organization request. Okay, and the request will pass to the post operation, and it will check either if any plugin, suppose pre-validation, no plugin registered. Suppose assume pre-operation, no plugin registered. Then it need to go and check in the post operation. So it need to pass from main operation. So that is the reason post operation will execute after the main operation. Now in main operation, from main operation, it is coming to the post operation stage, which is 40. Stage number is 40. First, it will check the plugin type. If plugin is asynchronous or synchronous. So here it will check plugin type. If plugin is synchronous, asynchronous plugin, then it will be in a asynchronous queue. If the plugin is synchronous plugin, then it will be any plugin is registered at this stage or not. Okay, earlier these pre-operation plugins is like asynchronous plugins. It will not support synchronous. So in post operation, it will check either synchronous or asynchronous. It will support both synchronous and asynchronous plugins. So that is the reason it will check the plugin type, and plugin type is synchronous or asynchronous, it will check. If it is asynchronous, it will store in async queue. If it is synchronous, then it will check again the same steps. Any plugin is registered at this stage or not. So if any plugin is not registered, then it will set organization web service request message. Okay, and it will pass this message back to the Dynamic 365. Okay, and organization web service response will be passed to the Dynamic 365. And suppose now if any plugin is registered at this stage, then it will update a organization web service request message. Okay, and here it will check the user has permissions or not. If user has permissions or not, it will check it, and if there is no permissions, it will give insufficient privilege exception. If there is any, if suppose there is any access to the user, then it will pass this message to the updated organization web service, and it will pass that message. So this is about plugin execution pipeline. Okay, this is like this you will not get anywhere, this diagram. Just for your understanding, I prepared this diagram to make it easy for you. Okay, and now this is how architecture. This is what you will find in Google. This image you will get in Google. Whatever we explained till now, this is what happening in this diagram. Okay, and so this is what now we have seen in this diagram. Now this is a plugin architecture. So any plugin or custom workflow logic we write, it will present in the database. Okay, on database. So when we do some operations like create or update or like delete, whatever it is, it will send a request to a CRM web service. Okay, this will send this information to this web service only. Whatever we explained earlier, the diagram is same. Okay, this diagram also is same. So it will go to this event execution pipeline, and it will see pre-event or pre-operation or post-event. This platform core operation is nothing but a main operation. We can say main operation as platform core operation. Okay, from request, it will go to the pipeline. Here it will determine whether it is pre-operation or post-operation, where it is registered. Okay, when this operation is performed, then core or main operation will do changes in a database. Okay, now after that, if any post like we can say after if any post logic is written here, then it will be executed. Next it will check either the plugin is synchronous plugin or asynchronous plugin here. If it is asynchronous plugin, then it will go to the asynchronous queue, which will be handled by a async queue manager. All asynchronous plugins will be held in a async queue manager. There will be one queue manager for this. That queue manager is a async queue manager. This all asynchronous plugins or workflows will hold in this queue manager, and it will send one by one. Okay, whatever the triggering criteria is there, based on that it will met. Okay, now the data will be in a database. Next it will check either this plugin is synchronous or asynchronous, right? If plugin is synchronous, then it will finish immediately. It will not wait for anything. See here, if it is synchronous, it will finish immediately. If it is asynchronous, then it will go to this process. Now these all will be handled by a queue manager. All asynchronous events for all plugins or workflows, this will execute asynchronous events one by one. Okay, so this is about base information about a plugin. Any doubts still here? A very important concept. Everyone should understand first the concept. Whatever I explained in this diagram, it is same, and whatever I explained in this diagram, it is also same. Both the diagrams. Any doubts?
Bro,
Yes.
we use only here asynchronous or synchronous.
Depends on the scenario. If you want immediate
Mostly.
trigger, then you will go for synchronous. 90% of the cases you need to practice with asynchronous only. You need to suggest asynchronous. If the business still need immediate things to happen, then at least go for one or two synchronous plugins is fine. But don't go with synchronous option is not a preferred way, because it is freezing the page. It will reduce your performance.
Oh, okay.
Anything else for anyone? Any doubts? Definitely Most of the questions will be covered in this, whatever I have covered you in plugins concept. If any concepts they are asking theoretically, 90% of the questions will be from this only.
బ్రో స్టేజెస్ ఏంటి బ్రో? ఇక్కడ స్టేజెస్ చూపిస్తున్నారు కదా.
Stages 10, 20, 30, 40.
అంటే స్టేజెస్ అంటే
ఇవే pre-validation stage, pre-operation stage, main operation stage and post-operation stage.
ఓహో.
Any doubts? Okay, so when we go into now real practice, then you will understand better like where this stage is, what is this event, what is this message, what is this request. You will understand when we are going through our concept. So let me close this, or else let it keep it open. Okay, I will keep it open, minimize this. Next we will see, so after this what we need to do, as I told you, in order to do this, first we need to see we need a SDK. So we need to get SDK. So how we need to get the install this or get or install this SDK? So how we can install this SDK? So this is SDK you need to install from Microsoft site. SDK download MSDN site, Microsoft site. Click on this link, Windows SDK, Microsoft Developer, and search for this. Okay, you see plus MS CRM, if you type it will give a link here, Microsoft Dynamics 365 V8.x software development kit. SDK is nothing but software development kit. You can click on this link. Now after clicking on this link, now scroll down and see here this Dynamics 365, it will support for Microsoft Dynamics 365 and the version is like 8.x. 8.x is fine, 9.x is our latest version, but this is also supporting, this is the latest version, it will support for us. And if you want to download this, if you want to see some information and download, click on details. So this is 8.2.1 version published in 2017. Okay, fine. And see here to download the latest SDK v9.x. This is our 9.x. So you can download from this 9.x SDK toolkit. Instead of download directly, clicking on download here, just go to the details and check your version. The latest version of ours is 9.x. Download this here. Click on a download. Now download Dynamics 365 Customer Engagement On-Premise version 9.x Software Development Kit. Okay. Now what will it will be having? It will be having code generation, configuration migration, package deployer, plugin registration tool, and solution packager. These all will be available. Okay. In this SDK you will find all these. And what we are required in this, it is plugin registration tool. So once you download this and install, you will get all these packages. Whatever the package you need to follow, you can use that feature. Okay, now scroll down. These are the SDK assemblies. So these assemblies we need to use as a reference in our CRM. So these all references you will get in this SDK. Okay, fine. Next. You can download these developer tools from NuGet. So from Visual Studio, we are having this option download from NuGet. So you can directly download, if you click on this, you can directly download this from NuGet. Or else there is another way you can download. So first option is download from NuGet. Or if you don't know how to download from NuGet, go to the second option. This will be simple. Download tools using a PowerShell. So you can download SDK tools using this PowerShell script. You can download this. Okay, how you need to do this? So here they are saying in your Windows start menu, type Windows PowerShell and open it. So here in Windows, type PowerShell PowerShell. Here you will find Windows PowerShell. Click on this. Okay, now you clicked Windows PowerShell. Next, navigate to the folder you want to install the tools. For example, if you want to install them in DevTools folder on your D drive, type cd space dev-is-to DevTools. Suppose now I am going to place this in this desktop Chandu1 plugins. Here I am going to place one folder DevTools, or instead of here in plugins, let me place it outside only, better. So here I am going to give one folder called DevTools. Okay, DevTools. What they have given? DevTools only, right? Let me take the same name here, DevTools. Your wish, whatever you want to take it, you can take it on your own. Okay, I am also giving here DevTools. Now you can open this DevTools. Now this path you can copy. Okay, this path you can copy and you can give it here, keep it here somewhere. So this is the path. So whatever they are taking path here, cd space d-is-to DevTools, this is their path. For example, they have given this path, but our path is this one. Okay, so now copy this path. Now cd space this one. So they are saying this is a path, right? So follow this cd space d-is-to. Now I want to give here directly cd space, that's it. cd space c-is-to, this is my path. Okay, copy this path now. In PowerShell, where you are open, copy and paste the following PowerShell script. So first navigate to the folder you wish want to tools. For example, if you want to install them in DevTools folder in your tree drive, type cd space DevTools. Okay, now type here cd space this path and enter. So this is not able to find this path. Then where might be the mistake? A positional parameter cannot be found for accept argument. See users is to DevTools. Might be it is not accepting the spaces, I think. So what we can do here is this Chandu space -1 is there, right? Might be this is not accepting. Let me do one thing. Close this folder, rename this to Chandu -1, Chandu 1. Okay, something I will give this from that only. This is also from that only. Let me close all those. I think this naming convention, it is problem. I am going to change this. Hyphens and these all are there, right? Maybe it is not accepting. I think so. Okay, Pchendu. Let me try this. In Pchendu DevTools, this is the path. Copy this path now and give here cd space this path. So see here, now it is taking. That is the issue. So in this Pchendu DevTools, it is available. Now after that, what you need to do? Now this pass to this step. Now copy and paste the following PowerShell script into the PowerShell window and press enter. So now directly a code is given. Copy this code. Here there is a copy option. Click on this copy. It will be copied the code. Now whatever the code is here, this will copy here and paste it. Now click on enter. This will automatically install this in this path. Whatever the DevTools, that path we have taken here in this path. So whatever the path is there in this path, it will hold. Now you see this is running. Wait until it completes. See here. Now directory C in this path. This is the path. It is loading all this information into that path. So it is installing. First it installed core tools. Next configuration migration tool it is installing. After that it is taking package development. Now it was installed all. Now after installing all, now you will find tools in the following folders. So your folder /tools configuration. So where we have stored this, we have stored here. So go to the tools. So see here in DevTools, all these four were installed. Configuration migration, core tools, package deployment, and plugin registration tool. This was installed. So after getting this one, so now you can close this. Now you got all these 4. Okay, to get the latest and repeat the following steps they are saying. Okay, we are done with this STK. Now you install the STK. Fine, you can close this. Now you can open this plugin registration, and you will find here, you see this data hour symbol. See, this green one is like data hour symbol. You can open this plugin registration. Okay, now here we can give a new connection here. Okay, create a new connection. So it will ask you here, show advanced display list of organizations. Suppose select this display list of organizations. Okay, whatever the organizations are there related to this particular user, that will display you. Which region? Suppose if you don't know the region, select here I don't know. Here select don't know. If you don't know the region, exact region, then you need to pass here username and password. What will be the username and password? Okay, so just pass username and password here. What will be the username here? So let me give username. Our CRM, open Chandu, this one, and go to the CRM credentials. Pass this admin. I am giving admin user. Here pass username as admin user, and here pass password. So suppose if you are in real-time environments, you can directly sign in with current user, or you can go with the same options. Here 2 options are there. Deployment type. So what is the deployment type? We are having on-premise and online. On-premise and Office 365. On-premise you are not using. You need to select with Office 365. And select the display list of how many organizations related to this particular admin will be available, it will show. So now you pass the password and click on login. So now you see we are having 2 environments. One is TS dev and second is TSJ test. So total 2 environments I have. Now which environment you are going to work? You are working on dev environment. So select here dev environment. It is very important. You need to choose. There will be lot of environments will be available here, out of which you need to choose your particular environment. Okay, remember this point. You need to choose which environment that you are working. You need to choose that particular environment here and click on login. Now you see here, this is a plugins. This is environment in TSJ. We are having all these. We are having all these plugins only. So these all are a plugins only. But these are created by Microsoft. These plugins are already created by Microsoft, and plugins are customer plus whatever it is there. These all are registered here by Microsoft. Now I want to write my own plugin. Then, so before writing a plugin, I want to show you what is some information you need here. So here you see register. Register a new assembly, register a step, register image. This mostly we need these points. Webhook, these all are external. So we need register a new assembly. Suppose if you are clicking on assembly, so in this assembly, what it will store, it will be having a DLLs. Okay, and you see here some you need to know about this first. Okay, first if you are registering an assembly, it will ask you specify the isolation mode. So there will be an enter question. They will ask how many type of isolation modes you are having. I am having sandbox and none. Sandbox, which is having some restrictions here, and this is a secured sandbox, is secured and it will be having some restrictions. It is for registering online CRM and not available for on-premise. If you want to register plugin in on-premise, then we need to go for on-premise none option. Sandbox or none option is available. Any one of these you can select, but for online only sandbox is supported. On-premise it will support both. But we will register our plugins using sandbox only because of security. Okay, this is completed. Next is specify the location where the assembly should be stored. 99% cases you will store in database only. In any of the specific reasons or any of the specific cases, we will store some file in other locations like disk, GAC or file store. This is new option. File store is a new option. Earlier we don't have this file store option. Recently they have introduced, I think so. Okay. Now disk, what is this? Just I will give some information about this one. So if you are storing, whenever you place our plugin code inside a database, then it will be available in our solution. Okay, in our solution, that is means it is available in our solution. We can export solution from one environment to environment and deploy it to another environment, right? So it will transfer one database to another database. So it is easy to export and import plugins if you are selecting this database. But if you select a disk, we can't do import and export things. This disk means internal disk you are going to store. And global assembly cache, this is a GAC, global assembly cache. Okay, this is nothing but every system is having this global assembly cache inside a server. Okay, we use this GAC utility tool will be there. So using that GAC tool, GAC utility tool to deploy, we will deploy this assembly. So it depends. So it doesn't depend on you which one to use. It is 99%. Never I used other options. I used only database as an option till now. Okay, and that will be decided by a solution architect or a technical architect. Which option you need to choose these options. You no need to worry about this. But when they ask in an interview, is there any specific assembly that you are going to store? Then you will say, I will store in a database. I have never used this disk or GAC or file store. Okay, if they ask about then what is GAC, why they have given here, then you will say this is a global assembly cache. This is like utility tool where we can register, like we can load this assembly using this GAC tool, or we can store in internal disk. Like this, you can update to them. Okay, now this is fine. And what else you need to know? Register a step. So whenever I'm going to register a step, here you will find all the messages. These all are the messages available for plugins. In workflows, you will get create, update, delete, field change, right? Here you will see multiple, you will get create message is there. Okay, create an attribute, something other also. Mostly we will use create. Next is update. Okay, update. And next message will be retrieve or retrieve multiple, whatever you want. You see here multiple options is available here in message. Okay, message, it is for creator, updater, whatever it is, this is a message. Next, primary entity. Primary entity is nothing but an account or contact or employee, whatever the entities are available, that all information will be available here. See here employee. Here we are not able to see employee directly because you can search with schema name LMS underscore, you see all custom entities, LMS underscore employee, LMS underscore MP branches. You can select this LMS underscore employee. This is nothing but you are selecting an entity. If you select account here, it will come because account schema name is account only. But employee you are not getting directly. Then you need to search with the schema name LMS underscore employee. You can select this LMS underscore employee here. Secondary entity, I also till now I also didn't use this secondary entity, but mostly we will use this to set and remove or relate options will be there. Then we will use this set secondary entity. Mostly we will not use this. I didn't use it secondary entity till now. Just to follow this primary entity. Okay, so filtering attributes. So filtering attributes, this won't be available for create message. See now this is a message. Suppose if you select create here, this will be not available. See this option is grayed out. So this filtering attributes will be available whenever this message is a update message. Update create on create of record, no need of any attribute to take. But on update message, on which field you are going to update, that all fields will be available here. You see, you click on this plus, which field update you need to choose. You will choose a field update here. On particular field update, you need to register this, you need to apply the logic. Then you will select the filtering attribute here. Next is event handler. When you register a plugin, by default, this will be created. No need to worry. Whenever you are creating it, tomorrow I will show you, whenever I am creating a plugin, this event handler will be automatically populated here. You no need to select anything. Okay, and the step next is step name. Same, the step name also automatically this will be, see here already update of LMS underscore employee. This was already updated. Next, as I told you, impersonation concept. Here run in user context means I will take here calling user. If you don't know, suppose if you don't have privilege, then if you need to take some other user in this CRM, or like you can select some suppose some other user. Okay, then here I will select the other user here. Okay, Sanjay or whatever the user is there, Lakshmi or someone, I will select here and I will run this context. If I am running this user context with Lakshmi, I was logged in with admin, but I am running this plugin in Lakshmi context, then this is called impersonation. If you are running this plugin in your calling user, whatever the calling user is there, that is your username, then no need of impersonation. This is directly you have the permission and you are calling by user. Okay, next is execution order. So you are having suppose 3 plugins on account only. Which plugin should execute first and which plugin should execute second and which plugin should execute third? So this execution order we can define. Okay, and next description, same. You want to give some extra description or whatever it is, you can choose here. And here you are having event pipeline stage of execution. As I told you, right, we are having four stages: pre-validation, pre-operation, main operation and post-operation. As I told you, in main operation no plugins will be registered. Only in these stages the plugins will be registered, custom plugins will be registered. Main operation plugins by default Microsoft is given. That is why here we have 3 options: pre-validation, pre-operation and post-operation. Okay, and we will select, suppose if you are selecting a pre-validation plugin, this I will explain when we need to use pre-validation, when we need to use pre-operation, when we need to use post-operation. We will explain in real-time scenarios, but the concept is we are having 3 event execution pipeline stages available here for custom logic to apply, for custom plugin to apply. Okay, and you see here synchronous mode. Execution mode is nothing but a types of mode. So synchronous and asynchronous. If you see the synchronous option, we cannot, asynchronous option we cannot select in pre-validation. In pre-validation it supports only synchronous process. And you select here pre-operation, and pre-operation is not having asynchronous process, it all synchronous process only. Okay, we cannot register asynchronous plugins using pre-operation, and we cannot register asynchronous plugins using pre-validation. If you want to do asynchronous plugins, then you need to select this post-operation. So that is what I have explained you in diagram. Okay, so if you open the diagram, you will understand better. Let me open the diagram. Plugins. As I told you here it will not go through this synchronous or asynchronous, because here only one option is there, that is synchronous. You see here, sorry, 1 minute. Here you see in pre-validation, here asynchronous we cannot select, this was grayed out, only synchronous option is there. Okay, and even here only synchronous, and even pre-operation it is synchronous only. You see, you can go and check there. In pre-operation this is synchronous only, no asynchronous option is there. But once you come to post-operation, here in post-operation in this image, it will check which type of plugin, either synchronous or asynchronous. Now here, because it is checking here, because you are having 2 options, you can select either synchronous or asynchronous. Okay, so 70% we will use post-operation part, so that is the reason they are giving 2 options for you, asynchronous and synchronous. You can select. Now after selecting asynchronous or synchronous, then you need to register any plugin registered in this stage. Now this you need to register in post-operation, then you will register this based on selecting these options. Okay, now after having this one, next you see server and offline. So you will always register your in a server only, not in offline. Offline means on premise you will use. Offline will be not enabled or enabled for any of these options. Okay, this is what about plugin registration tool. So this is some information about plugin registration tool, and tomorrow onwards we will see with an examples. Okay, this is all about the context of a plugin. Okay, first if you know all these basic information about a plugin, so you will understand the plugin concepts easily. Okay, you need to have full grip with this image, full understanding about this image, then you will work better with plugins. Any doubts till now in this plugin concept? I
Bro,
think first node. Yes.
ఇప్పుడు ఒకసారి ప్లగిన్ కోడ్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తే ఈ 4 స్టేజెస్ క్రాస్ కావాలా బ్రో? లేకపోతే
So it will check every stage. Okay, first it will check pre-validation stage. If any plugin is registered, then it will go with that option, and it will go with an operation with pre-validation. Then it will ignore post and pre-operations. If suppose no plugin is registered at pre-validation stage, then it will go to post-operation stage. Sorry, pre-operation stage. And if suppose here plugin is registered, it will execute here and it will not go to other stages.
లేదు
Now,
బ్రో, వర్క్
if
ఫ్లోలో మనము ఒకటేసారి సింక్రోనస్ అసింక్రోనస్ అని సెట్ చేసుకుంటాం కదా, ఇక్కడ 2-3 టైమ్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా, అందుకే చిన్న
where you
అంటే
find
ఇక్కడ
2-3 times,
లేదు బ్రో, ఇక్కడ మనం పోస్ట్ ఆపరేషన్ లో మనము 2 టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ సింక్రనైజేషన్స్ ఉన్నాయి కదా బ్రో, అసింక్రనైజేషన్
yes,
అందులో
we have synchronous.
పోస్ట్ లో ఏమో 1 టైప్ ఉంది. అంటే ఎవ్రీ టైమ్ వి నీడ్ టు అంటే మార్కెట్ అస్ అనే డౌట్ అది.
I didn't get your question only. First of all, what you
లేదు
are
బ్రో,
asking.
ఒకసారి వర్క్ ఫ్లోస్ లో మనం ఒకసారి ఆ ప్రాసెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు, వర్క్ ఫ్లో స్టార్ట్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఐదర్ ఎసింక్రోనస్ ఆర్ సింక్రోనస్ సెట్ చేసుకొని మనం ఫ్లో స్టార్ట్ చేస్తాం కదా
Okay.
బ్రో.
Okay.
ఇక్కడ ప్రీలో సింక్రోనస్ ఉంది, పోస్ట్ లో మళ్ళీ ప్రీ వాలిడేషన్ ప్రీ ఆపరేషన్ లో సింక్రోనస్ ఉంది. ఇక్కడ మన పోస్ట్ కి వచ్చే వరకు సింక్రోనస్, అంటే ఇక్కడికి వచ్చే చేంజ్ చేయాలా లేకపోతే ఏంది?
Okay. See, first of all, you need to understand the concept here is in workflows, you are having limited triggers. Okay. Create, suppose assume you have a retrieve operation. Okay. And retrieve is not available in workflow. If create is there and you will go with system workflow only. You need to write asynchronous on create message. Then which option you will choose, either system workflow or plugin. You will go with system workflow. Suppose now I have a retrieve message. I need to retrieve some data. Okay, from account entity, I need to retrieve employee. From employee, I need to retrieve an account information. Now, how you will do it? You don't have option with system workflow. Now you have option with plugin. Okay, now here which option I need to choose, either synchronous or asynchronous. Now suppose based on my requirement, if the client says immediately when you select a lookup it should retrieve all the information, then you will use synchronous. Then you will see, suppose this should happen once the record is saved. Okay, then I need to trigger this, or else whenever a lookup is selected I need to trigger this. Whenever a lookup is selected I need to trigger, I will go with the pre-operation. I don't have an option to choose synchronous. You need to take synchronous plugin only. You don't have an option to do asynchronous. Okay, but when you go for other operation, when you go for suppose on save of this record I need to trigger, then you will go for post operation. Then you can choose either which type of plugin you need, either synchronous or asynchronous. That is not in your hands. If it is post operation you are preferring, then you can select any one of these. If no option is there, we need to go with synchronous only. That is in pre-operation. If you are using pre-operation, there is no option. Microsoft is not given to use asynchronous. You need to go with synchronous only. You need to suggest them. Or else, now Microsoft has released a Power Automate flow where all Power Automate flows are asynchronous only. Got it, Praveen, or not?
Yeah bro, okay.
So all Power Automate flows are asynchronous flows. No synchronous Power Automate flows are there. All are asynchronous. You go with Power Automate flow. Now there is an option for you. Earlier you need to write plugin only. Now 90% of plugins, instead of writing this logic, everyone is using Power Automate flows. To reduce this synchronous part only, Microsoft has introduced that asynchronous Power Automate flows. Any other doubts? If you are asking doubts, then you will understand concept better. If no doubts, I'm not sure either you are getting the concept or not. Okay, so if no doubts, Srikanth, you are going to ask something.
No, bro.
Okay. Okay, fine. If no doubts, then I will close, and we will continue from tomorrow our developing a plugins.